Hello, everyone, and welcome to April 19th, 2022 Legislative Committee meeting. We will start the meeting by looking for a motion for adoption of the agenda. Councillor Lemko makes the motion. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next up, the adoption of the minutes of our last regular legislative meeting. Councillor Roarwa makes the motion. Is there any errors or omissions within those? Go ahead, Len.
Yes, some errors on 6.1 draft traffic safety bylaw minutes. Just a few things there. It says at legislative meeting of January 24th. That was just a council meeting. And I was just looking down at 613. It says the definition for demonstration has been added as section 2.12, which in fact at the last meeting that wasn't the case. That was all supposed to be taken out, right? And then number 4, definition of demonstration has been added. That actually was taken out. And section 6, parades has been revised to include demonstrations. That in fact was taken out. So just want that corrected.
Where's this music coming from?
It's there, but I reached to shut it off after.
Okay, who can speak to this? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. The councillor is correct. We'll make those corrections to the minutes here.
Okay, so is there any other errors or omissions? Okay, so all those in favor of the amended minutes as the changes will be made? Okay. Okay. Carried. Okay, so first up, Director Rowe and National Volunteer Week.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a letter from the 2022 Volunteer Appreciation Planning Committee Chairperson, Elizabeth Kohler-Lenko of FCSS. Dear elected officials, National Volunteer Week is April 24th to 30th, 2020. This week is set aside each year to recognize and thank volunteers around the County of Minburn, Town of Vegreville, and Canada for the time and energy they contribute to causes that benefit our communities. The National Volunteer Week theme for 2022, Volunteering is Empathy in Action, affirms the strong connection between volunteerism and empathy. This profoundly human connection is at the heart of healthier individuals and stronger communities. Empathy is a quality that can help people relate to others and build awareness around different experiences. It connects people in ideas and actions and helps create bonds forged in common goals and aspirations. From coast to coast to coast, in formal and informal settings, volunteers create caring, collaborative, and compassionate communities. During National Volunteer Week 2022, we celebrate the contributions of Canada's millions of volunteers, their actions, their understanding, and their genuine concern for the world around them. Vegreville and District FCSS is working with an exceptional committee, and this year we are creating a 3-phase plan to inspire, reward, and recruit volunteers in our vibrant community. We would like to ask the Mayor and Council members to share their stories on how volunteers bring heart to Vegreville and County of Minburn through social media posts and short video clips. We would like these short videos or posts to be fun and relaxed messages of appreciation for our local volunteers. Your stories and videos will be used in the week leading up to National Volunteer Week as a way to inspire and encourage other organizations to share their own messages. Please post your creations on your social media pages using the hashtags listed below, hashtag Vegreville Volunteers, hashtag NVW2022. We hope that the town of Vegreville will show its commitment to local volunteers by participating. Sincerely, Elizabeth.
Okay, we don't need to take a motion to receive and file here, but I'd like to have a bit of a conversation about who can step up and do a couple of videos or make something available for this. Len, you could?
Yeah, I could, and maybe if I get the help of Jameson Browning for that, our communications manager.
Okay, is there anybody else that can make one?
Sorry.
Are you looking for each of us to make a short video? Because I think all of us are pretty active volunteers. We all have.
Yeah, and in the past, we've done that we've all sort of just shot a video with our phone and then sent it to our communications director, and he just put it up on that site. Okay, there's a comment. Oh, go ahead.
So, yeah, this is to be posted on your personal Facebook pages, and if some of you have counselor pages, to post it on that, and just put those particular hashtags, and then that way it's, so these are your own videos that you could make with a egg in the background, with the Pasanka in the background. It could be with a local service club banner in the background, whatever you choose, just thanking volunteers in the community, and then posting it to your personal pages with those hashtags.
Okay, so everybody got direction here, like, okay, thank you. Thank you, Director Rowe. Up next, Director Saski.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is the 2022 Taxation Rate and Penalties Bylaw. So I have a memorandum here discussing some of the changes and items for this 2022 assessment year. So we are looking at our taxable assessments declining by 0.67% from 2021. Residential assessments have declined 0.74%, and non-residential assessments have declined 0.51%. For 2022, residential assessments make up 66.2% of total taxable assessment, and non-residential is accounting for 33.78%. So, taxation bylaw. On December 13th, 2021, Town Council approved the 2022 operating budget and must approve a taxation bylaw annually to raise necessary funds to provide services approved in this budget. To reiterate, the town has had a 0% tax increase for municipal purposes for 2022. You can see this detailed in Schedule 1 that's attached. As in prior years, the levy is split 47% residential and 53% non-residential, and the small business tax rate discount remained at 20%. So for 2022, the Provincial Education Tax Levy, pursuant to the Municipal Government Act, the town is required to levy total tax to pay the provincial education requisition. This requisition increased by a net amount of approximately $5,400, or 0.27%. The portion of the tax levy related to residential ratepayers is increased about $5,800, or 0.46%, while the portion of the levy related to non-residential ratepayers remains stable. The MD of Minburn Foundation requisition for the Homestead Lodge has increased by approximately $49,815, or 33.2% over last year. This increase is required to adequately fund affordable housing for senior citizens. So, as noted in 2 above, budget requirements were established by Town Council when the 2022 budget was approved. Changes in assessment values, as I had noted, they had declined slightly. They do not have any impact on the budget that we've already passed. So sometimes it's assumed that when overall assessments decline, that taxes also decline. The moral of the story is if the assessments decline and we're still collecting the same amount of money, you end up paying the same amount because we still have to collect the same amount. So once the budget is approved, the tax levy is set to collect the required funds to satisfy the budget requirements and the requisitions that we are given. So in this year, the increase in tax levy is marginal for most a single-family residential home, and most of that is actually attributable to the requisitions and not the municipal levy. So that's into item 6 here. You can see that an average single-family residential assessment, so rounded assessment of $221,000 in 2022. In 2021, that same house would have been $223,500, so about a small decrease. And so based on the proposed tax rates, the municipal levy is $2,057 compared to $2,065 in the prior year. So we're actually levying this household $8.12 less than the prior year. But if you look at the education and the MD of Minburn requisitions, they're up 38 cents and $17.55. So overall, combined, this household is, even though their levy fell, they're paying an extra $9.82. It's a marginal amount. I don't think it's going to impact the ability of most people to pay, but it's actually, the town is saving them money because we've levied them less than the prior year. So that is going into that. So then we go into Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 is the comparative analysis of the taxation requirements and the analysis of the 2021, that should be 2022 tax rates. Sorry for the typo. So I'll go into those as we get there. And then item 9 is combined assessment and taxation notices. So in 2022, the combined assessment and taxation notices are planned to be mailed this week in May 9th to 13th. The assessment date will be 7 days after mailing date, and the assessment appeal date will be 60 days after the assessment date, in accordance with provincial regulations. This will provide 67 days from mailing date for property owners not satisfied with their assessment to formally appeal their assessment. The 2022 property taxes will be due no later than the last business day in June, so June 30th, 2022. Penalties will be applied to late payments in accordance with the bylaw. And as always, our tax installment payment plan is available for ratepayers, and that will allow them to make payments on the 15th or 30th of every month and have them auto withdrawn. Flipping to Schedule 1, you can see that in addition to collecting funds for municipal purposes, the town also collects for MD of Minburn Foundation, designated industrial properties, that's the provincial assessor requisitions, and then for Alberta School Foundation. So these are total tax dollars to be collected on behalf of all these tax authorities is estimated to be $11,454,944. The allocation of these tax dollars between the town and other requisition authorities is illustrated here. So you can see Vegreville municipally has collected 0% more than prior year. So we're exactly the same. Minburn is 34% over last year. The industrial properties has decreased slightly. Residential and non-residential for schools has increased slightly, except for non-residential or Elk Island Catholic School Division has decreased slightly, in a total 0.5% increase of taxes overall. And Schedule 2 goes through the proposed taxation rates, and we will get into those in detail on the bylaw. Are there any questions so far?
Anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Rudick.
Thank you very much, Director Sasky. This is very clear for those of us that are familiar with municipal taxation. I wonder if there's just a quick explanation about the division between residential and non-residential for the public, just to understand again the delineation that you've put into number 2, 47% residential versus 53% non-residential, and what that represents.
Okay, so residential is your housing, so that's where people are living, vacating a property, versus non-residential would be a commercial property, industrial property, machinery, small businesses, so that's where people are not living in it for sole purposes of being their primary residence, but more so obtaining income from that property or creating wealth through like a non-residential, through like some kind of corporation or business.
Okay, and if we're looking at those percentages, thank you, does it actually represent 47% of the tax that's collected comes from residential versus the other number, or is that actually the separation of what exists in Vegreville proper?
That's for the actual collection of the tax rates. So, so the net municipal property tax budget was $9,196,000. So that's on Schedule 1. I just want to make sure I'm being clear where we can follow. Yeah, so this Schedule 1, the municipal purposes, the $9,196,345. So that's the dollars that the municipality is collecting for our municipal purposes. Of that, we're allocating 47% of that to residential and 53% to non-residential. So 47% of the 9.19 million is levied to the homes in town and the residential zoned properties, and 53% is allocated to the businesses and corporations in the town.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
And just to complement that, there's a lot more homes than there is businesses. So people need to remember that the small businesses in this town, you know, pick up a lion's share of the taxes for the residential, so.
That is correct.
Okay, is there any other questions? So we're gonna see this on Monday?
Yes.
Okay, so if that's the case, we're also seeing the traffic bylaw and the responsible pet ownership bylaw and the green light program on Monday as well, right? can you tell me that all the changes to the traffic bylaw and everything that we've asked for has been done? Okay, so go ahead, CAO Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. I'll take this one too. We're gonna double and triple check that before it comes out in the agenda.
Okay, so if we can get those amended bylaws, all of them out a couple of days before the meeting, so everybody has a chance to go through them, so that we don't have to spend a lot of time trying to make changes. We can, if there's anything that needs to be done, we can get it done for it. Okay? Thank you, Director Saskew.
Thank you.
Okay, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just to confirm, Your Worship, the changes that council wanted to make in section 6 that pertain to parades were to revert to the old language of section 6 in the previous bylaw, correct?
Okay.
Around parades. Yes?
All I understand is that there was no will to have the word demonstration in there,
Yeah.
so,
Okay, we'll send them out by email to double check.
okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving up, CAO Leggett is up next.
Thank you, Worship. Quick and easy one for me here. We're just asking for rescheduling of the legislative committee meeting from May 3rd to the following day. We have the PA system that's going to be installed here, which includes some new desks up front and shuffling things around. And the contractor that's coming in to do that will be working on multiple buildings as well as this one, May 3rd, and then a couple of days prior. So we just want to make sure that that work is done before we host the meeting. They'll probably be in the room here.
So, we're still going ahead with the safety meeting that same day, correct?
Let me,
May the 4th, but we're gonna reschedule the ledge meeting after that, like in the same day. Is that what we're talking about? And that's fine. I mean, I'm just saying that everybody understands that, right?
And I have a course later that day. That 4th, 6:30, should be done by then, I would hope.
Do we have a CO meeting after?
the safety meeting, yeah.
Meeting's on the 3rd.
Well, we're not gonna be able to, so we,
Meeting's on the 4th.
Safety meeting's on the 4th.
and we had to schedule our CAO quarterly meeting with council and you as well.
I'll defer to the legislative coordinator, please, Your
Okay.
Worship.
Let's get to the road here.
The reason for the request is, like CAO Leggett said, that the AV guys are coming in and they're gonna be working in here, upgrading the system to facilitate the Zoom and everything that we need to do. They are also working at the social center at the same time, like that's kind of a dual trip out to save on mileage and that expense. So we kind of are tied to these dates. They want to be in here when we do have our legislative meeting on. So ideally, we would like to move our legislative meeting to facilitate them being in this room. It does not need to move to the Wednesday. It's just that's the next day. They'll be in here on the Monday. They'll be in here on the Tuesday, full days. And then the Wednesday, they only need an hour or two during the morning or early afternoon. So that would work. I understand that the town safety meeting, we start at 6 in the morning when they cooking breakfast for the staff. And then it makes for an extremely long day. It does not have to stay on the Wednesday. We could move it to the Thursday if you wish. It just, it doesn't facilitate a lot of time for getting the council agenda out for the following Monday. So Wednesday preferably would work, but we can work with Thursday as well if that's easier.
That's fine with me. I mean, we're gonna cook breakfast for the safety meeting early that day. We're gonna have our ledge meeting at 3, and then we're gonna have our council and CAO meeting later that day. And you have a course schedule for 6:30. So we'll just have to keep the program flowing, keep it moving. We can make it work. Is there anybody that can't make it work? Counselor Curtis. Oh, by the way, Counselor Curtis is on Zoom with us right now. Can you make that work?
Just looking here, it says we have the town safety meeting on the 4th.
Yeah, it's early in the morning. We'll get there and cook breakfast, and then they start showing up about 7:30. The staff start coming, yeah.
That's fine, but that's 2 different days, right? The ledge and the council meeting's the 3rd, and then the.
Well, the ledge meeting, they wanna move to the 4th, that's what we're talking about in the CAO meeting, so everything on the 4th.
I will make it work.
Okay. Okay, well, that sounds good then, Sandra, make it happen and we'll be there. Okay. Thank you, CAO Leggett, and we're moving on to, just some round table, what everybody's hearing out there, so we will start with Councillor Bullock. What have you been up to? What have you been hearing?
Actually, I haven't heard much in the past week, and actually just something I want to talk about, which sounds like it's addressed anyways. It's just about the Zoom with the council meetings and ledge meetings on Zoom. I believe you're working on that, so I guess I don't really have anything to say at the moment on that.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a priority and trying to get everything set up in here with the supply chain the way it is. But I know they've been diligently working on it, and it looks like we're going to be moving forward with it, so it should be good.
That's all I got.
Hey, Councillor Warwick. Are we gonna talk, midget hockey or what?
I wasn't wanting to. Did you want to?
What do you hear about the midgets? Did they do okay in the provincials or what?
Yeah, actually, they were the only team in the province to go undefeated through the round robin, so that was really good. And unfortunate had a loss in the 5th period because we went into 2 overtimes, not ending up in a medal, but they had a great run of it, so it was good. 13 kids, no injuries, no ejections, so you can't ask for more than that. And given our group, no ejections, something to be happy about. So yeah, the kids had a good year, finishing with gold, and just a good group of kids. So yeah, it's great. Other than that, I think everybody's focus has been on, well, unfortunately what's not happening outside right now, but just praying to get outside and people looking forward to trails, and that's mainly what I was hearing. The only other thing I was going to bring forward was just in relation to the tax rate or tax bylaw. Something interesting that got said to me that I thought might be a point for clarification. Someone said that they thought that the requisitions that we collect is what we use to maintain the roads and sidewalks around the schools, and they didn't realize that the requisition is actually submitted to the province. So I just thought that maybe we would clarify that again, and I appreciate the using the actual example of a house to be able to show, because a lot of times when we say we had 0 increase, people will say, but there was an increase. But that is one thing I'd never heard before, was that statement about a requisition. So I thought I'd bring that up, that some people actually think we're required by the Municipal Government Act to charge it, but it's what we use for maintenance, which isn't actually a thing. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Curtis.
Not here too much lately. We had a few meetings that were canceled. I was away for a bit, but I am excited that Director Saskew and I will be taking on the tax conundrum at the next Talk of the Town. So hopefully we can get some more of those answers out that Tina was kind of talking about there, and hopefully we have a good talk, and we can put to rest some of these questions people have.
These myths.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. Sounds good. Councillor Riddick.
Just a couple things related to the medical clinic. Because Councillor Barry's not here right now, there have been a few changes there with Dr. Ahad leaving last month and Dr. Hasabala leaving last week. There have been some increased pressures at the clinic, so just some concerns from the public, and also a reminder that people there are under an immense amount of stress right now, and there are quite a few patients that are admitted to the hospital with COVID, and there's a lot of things going on. So just to remind people that there's a lot going on, and to be gracious and kind to the people that are working there. Last week I also attended the Alberta Seniors and Community Housing Conference, and Minister Pon is intending to come to Vegreville, so we'll be talking that further at our MD Minburn Foundation. But just to reassure people, again, the requisition shows an increase of 34%, but when you actually look at the amount that each person or individual pays or corporation pays to be able to have affordable housing for seniors is really very minuscule. And I think you said it was $65 on an average house, and that's for a year, which is really very minimal. So a lot of interesting conversations there, and relates back to some of the things that are happening locally for seniors. And of course, that ties back into the conversation with the medical office too. So those have been a couple of the things. And then the last thing was childcare. I've had a few people asking me about their concerns about childcare. So I guess maybe the old and the young are bending my ear this week.
Okay, so I know that we all received email regarding childcare, and hopefully those people have been answered, or Jenny has been answered, and I know that she was working with the school and stuff too. I mean, it's not like each individual counselor makes decisions on childcare, but we recognize that she did write us a letter, and hopefully that through FCSS or whoever's under that program, that we get back to her.
I couldn't verify for sure, but it is a complicated situation. Sizzling Summer is not intended to be childcare, but it is de facto childcare. I mean, that isn't the intention of the program, but there are a lot of parents that are finding, particularly for their kids age 6 to 12, they don't have a location for their kids to be locally in a way that's in a program. The daycare doesn't have capacity for them. There aren't day homes that accommodate, and so there's been some program changes, and Elk Island Public doesn't approach their rental in the same way that they may have in the past. So Jenny's working on that, but I think she's looking for us to be able to provide some leadership, because the parents that are coming to her and have also talked to me are really in a pickle. So again, it's not really a council responsibility de facto, but of course, because we care about the citizens of our community, we want to make sure we bring those conversations together productively.
Okay, so Director Rowe, did you see the email that came from Mrs. Pally?
I think it's just to us.
Okay, so we will forward that off, and you can bring it up with FCSS, and I don't know how much we can do, but we can try to assist them, and I know it's a struggle. I mean, I know the federal government promised a lot of daycares and childcare options that were coming up, but I guess it's 5 years from today, so we'll have to wait after the next election before we see that. So anyway, if you can send that off to Director Rowe, and he can get it in the hands of the right people in his department, and hopefully Mrs. Pally can have some conversations of what options are available. So thank you very much. Councillor Lemko.
Thanks, Your Worship. I have a few items. The Foxview Estates, our first residential house, is in the, it's being built, let's put it that way. The basement's poured, the side walls are poured, and they struggle through the snow and the mud and stuff. But they are, the house is coming up there, which is nice to see, and we'll probably see some more here shortly. This past weekend, Vegreville hosted the Hockey Alberta's Prospects Cup. I had the opportunity to go there a couple days and watch. There was 176 athletes in our community vying for the opportunity to be on two teams to go for a tournament in Red Deer. But the importance of that is we were able to host families from all over the region, all over. So they were coming to the community to do that, which is great that Hockey Alberta still believes in this is a good location to host that. And we do thank them for that. And the last item I have is the Vegreville Supports Ukraine, Vegreville Area Supports Ukraine Committee. Although you may not see a lot of social media and all that going on around there, the committee's working hard at building the model that will support the Ukrainian folks who tend to want to come to this area. Right now, we're looking for people who would love to host a family or host people that are from there coming here to get themselves established. So if you are of interest of hosting someone, please send an email to supportukraine@vegreville.com as the committee starts to gather names and all that. And there's a lot of work going on. You may not see it, but in order for this to happen, a lot of background work has to be done. So I thank the committee. They're doing a marvelous job, and we'll keep you abreast on what's going on.
Okay, thank you very much. And, Councilor Lemko, so if just an everyday citizen of town or this area wants to maybe get involved, by just even donating some time now and then, what can they do? How do they get a hold of the committee?
Again, you can, on the support Ukraine at Vegreville.com is our email. You could voice your availability to that. One of the committee chairs, our volunteer coordinator or the champion of that committee is Cindy Bedella, and she's available and taking names for whatever that looks like. And then eventually the call out will come to the volunteers as we go. I know of big fundraisers happening here in May, a big pierogi supper at the social center. I'm not sure the date has been finalized, but they're looking to have takeout and eat in. But our fundraising coordinator, Michelle Anderson, is working on that, and more details will come. And that should be early May. So prepare as the many babas in the country and families are pinching pierogies right now as we speak. So a fundraiser. So we will do it right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and I want to thank all the people that have put their name forward on the committee, and not just them. There's people that are, like the Councilor Lemko says, that are helping with this fundraiser that's coming up, and there's all kinds of opportunities for people in our community and the outlying communities here to help participate when these displaced Ukrainians show up. So please reach out and try to get hold of that committee. I've been doing quite a bit of stuff. I've had a trip to Nova Scotia and back, but been meeting with a lot of investors, and I think that we got some concrete plans in moving forward, and hopefully the next week or so that we can start making a few announcements. Hopefully, we'll see. I mean, these things are always complicated, but I also wanted to bring up on Saturday we are having a proclamation to be Val Sweeting Day. And I do have a proclamation to sign someplace, I bet. Yep, I bet you I do. What do you think? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So just to let everybody know what's going on that day, Val will be in town early, and I think at 3 o'clock is the start time at the curling rink. Val will be there with a meet and greet as people walk through, and she'll be doing some autographs and taking pictures. She'll have the Canadian Women's Curling Championship trophy there, which she has names been on it 3 years in a row, and she'll have her bronze medal from the Worlds. There'll be some other memorabilia around there, and it'll be a nice picture for anybody. And I'm so happy that Val has chosen to come back to Vegreville to celebrate her success in her sport. And I mean, she's known all over the world as Vegreville Val in the curling circles and stuff, and it's nice that we can assist in this a little bit. And then afterwards, there is a fundraiser for the curling rink, the spaghetti supper, and there's still tickets left. If anybody'd like to come, please reach out to any member of the curling club, or Dean Brooks could help you out. And please get over there to help that organization. So that's all that I have right now. And this time I'm not going to forget. CAO Leggett has a report to give, and I'm not going to shut him off there this time. So,
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, so in front of you is the page 21 there, the council action item list. Starting off at the first one there, begin drafting the employee review process. I'd just like council to note, I'm going to push the completion date to that one back to the end of May here. I'd like that one to sort of follow the org review. Moving down, good work has been done on several of them. So the org review project, the contract's been awarded, and since the printing of this, I can say that the terms of reference and everything have been signed. That project's now going ahead. I've sent the contractor several bits of information, our org chart, and some more other stuff. Held a staff meeting on that as well with all the staff members that are intended to be interviewed, and I understand that went quite well from the staff. The street light at the man-made lake area is giving us a little bit of hiccups here, and as noted, we've sent requests to several companies there to get info or quotes. But what we're seeing now is actually a suggestion that as opposed to one light, the companies that we're getting responses from are basically saying that one light might not be sufficient. And the one recommendation is for up to about 17 lights along the walking path. So we might have to revisit, or if council's open to the idea, maybe we do the one light if you want, but just recognizing that's not necessarily what the lighting companies are recommending here now that we're reaching out to them. So maybe a little bit more discussion on that one at a future date.
I think the focus there was on the other end of the pond, with the light to be for the winter activities there and stuff, so.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you're now saying that independent companies have come forward suggesting that we put 17 other lights along the walking trail?
Along the walking path, yeah. So something to consider, we can still charge forward with the original request from council if the intent is to just light up that one end of the man-made lake. But the folks in the know in the lighting space are saying there's a better option if our intent is to light up a wider field around the man-made lake.
So we're gonna get to see some pricing and some options on
Yeah,
this.
as noted there, and I don't want to mention the company, but as noted, we'd like to get a response from everybody we've reached out to. So once we got some more details, we'll come back to you with a proposal on that.
So moving forward, this will be at Sunrise Park.
Yes. I'll change it on here. Item 34, that's actually done. Item 50 or 35 is done as well. Items 39 and 40, as noted here, I noted some comments or questions about that in the last meeting, but just wondering what council's direction is to actually move forward with those two. Do you want us to investigate a family change room at the pool possibly for next year's budget? Or was that something you were just sort of discussing as an idea at this point?
We had a conversation the other day about this, and during the budget process, there was talk about this, and we actually thought that we were gonna see this before anything else was. We'd like to see this before any other work was done. That's what we were getting at, is that why would we do something and then maybe have to change it the way the offices and stuff were construction? We were looking to have this brought to us, is where we were with that.
Okay, so we discussed that at the senior staff meeting, and it's my understanding there was a budget amount to do some preliminary design, but that was declined in the budget for this year. Amount of 20,000, I believe.
Yeah, we were looking for a local contractor to come in, take a look and give us a price and what it would cost and what it would look like.
And for that, we'd probably need some more detailed analysis, Your Worship. It's a more involved project than just having a contractor give us a ballpark estimate. There's plumbing and engineering and all kinds of stuff.
We certainly do
Yeah. appreciate
that.
Yeah.
And we know how it works. I mean, they're gonna punch a hole in the floor for the drain. So, okay, so you're telling me right now that this is not gonna be done this year. We're not gonna see a conceptual drawing of it or anything that, like a price and what it would take to get it done?
At this time, no, unless council wants to add a line here, and then, we can begin looking at that. But as I mentioned, it's, from what I understand, the project to move forward with the concept was declined in the budget, so.
You guys remember that? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, when it came forward at the time, we said we were not prepared to spend $20,000 to get a proposed project. What we
Yeah.
said was there's already a proposal on the table to have that office area done. What was said was, I think we could approach the group that's building that and ask them to also provide us some within the budget that was going ahead with that. So I think most of the council's expectation was the going ahead of that space, but also expecting within that to have them come back with a little bit of something. Because at this point, we had no idea. We understand a full engineered drawing would have been way more, but we felt with the company already doing some work in, they could potentially have given us the scope of what they thought within that existing budget. So I do believe we turned down any thoughts of a $20,000 scope and felt that there should be availability for them to give us something within the existing.
And if the company wasn't willing to do that, then we could, we'll find another contractor that will come in and give us some ideas of what it would cost us and what we're looking at. I mean, that's.
Okay, let me leave that one with me, then I'll have a few more discussions around it, and we'll see what we can do there then. It is something council would like to explore, though, overall, I take it.
That was
Yeah.
the intent,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
We just weren't willing to pay someone $20,000
To do the
to draw us a picture of what it was gonna look like.
Okay.
And where the floor drain was gonna go.
Yeah, okay, and then
So-
similarly with the BMX park and the pump track, there was some conversation last meeting that some contractors had made some commitments to do that, but,
And actually, Council Lemko has had a conversation with them.
Okay.
Can you fill us in a little bit, Council Lemko?
Yes, your worship. I spoke with one of the contractors regarding the BMX park by Foxview Estates, and his request is that we have in kind the town's grader to flatten the surface for 4 hours, 5 hours to flatten it out, and once it's flattened out, they will be able to they will come in and do their work at building it according to some diagrams that were provided earlier. So they just wanted a time when to get it done. He says as soon as it's dry, let us go to work and do that. So I imagine it would be important to get a hold of him and see if that's possible at this time.
So, just so everybody knows, the design was all sloped to the middle, and it was all gonna drain to the middle, and then they were gonna be able to build the jumps and stuff with their equipment. So, I mean,
okay,
that's where you gotta,
Well, I wonder if it might not be valuable, given the time that we passed the budget is some time ago. I wonder if it's just because we've got a few disparities in terms of what our understanding is and difficult to come in midway, if it may not be productive to have like a midway budget check-in type of conversation, just to see, to make sure that we fully understand and appreciate where we are with some of these projects. Because I do appreciate the CAO report allows us to be able to see what's happening and where things are moving forward, which is very much appreciated. But I think the other part too, that maybe is missing when we give you a verbal report or feedback, that we don't similarly fit into this kind of framework. We don't have a spreadsheet of what our wish list was at that time. And
Yeah, okay.
again, those discussions were a while ago. And I don't want to turn this into a big process, but I wonder if it's maybe not a good idea just to recap and have a conversation. Of course, these two items that we talked about specifically can come back, but maybe there might be some value in having just sort of a check-in about our budget conversations again.
okay.
I know that Director Sasky would probably give us a update mid-year where we're at with their budget projections and the spending and the allocation of the money, right?
Yeah, that is correct. I normally do variance analysis quarterly at the very least, but right now with the audit just kind of wrapping up, we're focusing on last year, getting that put away, and then that was something to come to you in May or June of this year. So if that timing works okay, we're okay with that because we get we get audit done, property taxes out, and then that's when I start to focus on year to date and everything like that.
And I think your idea is a little more than that.
Yeah,
Break it
and
down even.
Yeah, and I have to say, I love the variance reports, because that's something that's fairly new. We've only started doing that last couple of years, which is excellent for us to be able to see where we are, especially on some of our big projects, and be able to see where our expenditures are at periodic check-ins throughout the year. I think maybe more what I was looking at is just a conversation, just sort of a relaxed conversation, being able to see some of the conversations that we had at budget and see what that actually looks like moving forward, separate from the actual expenditure of money, but more the intention of what council's direction was at that time.
Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I have an idea that might address that, Councillor Rick, so I'll speak to Director Saskew here and see if that might work. But yeah, I'm getting the idea of, budget workshop, mid-year check-in. Yeah, recap. Yep, okay.
So you say like a casual meeting, we sit back, look at the YouTube video of us and our budget process and check it off what got done, what didn't?
With popcorn, yeah.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Yeah, and maybe go through the, I'm thinking a review of the budget binder too, Your Worship.
Yeah,
So,
for sure, yeah.
Okay, we'll add that as
If you wanna
number,
make it more professional, you go right ahead,
we'll
that's
add
fine.
that as number
So,
45.
no,
Very good. Moving on, we've got a note here to update or bring forward a new council procedure bylaw in the near term. Update on industrial taxes, number 42 was tackled tonight. The wayfinding signage, I know there had been some conversations, questions by council about where that project is. I'm happy to report the RFP did close. We got an extremely high number of interested parties on that at 22, and if that's still the number, Director Rowe? 27 now. So, yeah, Director Rowe and I will have to get together and figure out a process to triage those and figure out who the top few applicants are, so leave that with us for a little bit, folks. That's a lot of applicants to go through. And then item number 44 is Val Sweeting Day. And then lastly, I'd just like to comment on the bylaws. You noted that there was 3 or 4 bylaws coming to the next meeting, Your Worship. And I'd just like to remind council, we did hear you at the last meeting about the one bylaw or so per meeting. So we just want to wrap these ones up that are underway, and then we'll try as best we can to make sure that we don't find ourselves with 4 bylaws on future council meetings here.
Okay, Councilor Lemko?
Yes, Your Worship. The signs on the outside of town, like the east side and the west sign, I don't notice them on the action log. They were budgeted for. Has an RFP gone out for those? Are they included in this?
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Lemko. That's what we sent this RFP out for. That's for those signs. There's 4 locations around town in that RFP.
Okay, so the wayfinding signage was all the signs coming into town that had to find stuff, and then the 2 on each end of town was it different? Yeah.
Sorry, highway pylon signage is that project. So that's the one where we have 27 responses to the RFP. The wayfinding signage, I'm just trying to finalize with our local vendor about fitting our logo properly on the wayfinding signs so that it looks proportional with the new signs.
Excellent. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, so I'm glad to see we actually have people responding, which is always good. That means we have some options. Is this still the intention that it would come and something that would be installed this summer, or do you have a proposed timeline on that?
So yes, we did put in for design, manufacturing, and installation no later than October of this year.
Excellent. Okay. Councilor Curtis, did you have a comment? That was in your hand up? Okay. Thank you. Is that it, CEO Leggett?
That's it, Your Worship. Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving on to director's highlights. We're gonna start with Director Dale.
Well, thank you, Worship. I really don't have a whole bunch to report. There's a couple items in closed session that we'll be discussing. Other than that, it's been busy and business as usual.
How would you say the snow removal team made out? Is everybody looking forward to putting that equipment away, or where are we at?
Yeah, I'm thinking they're getting excited about coal mixing roads.
Well, on behalf of the residents of Vegreville, you make sure you pass on that we all appreciate all the time and effort they put into that this winter, because it was not a normal winter, and the extra ice underneath. And okay, Director Sasky, what do you got?
Thank you, Your Worship. I will make this short and sweet. I've gotten unofficial confirmation from the MP's office that we have been awarded 17 positions for Canada Summer Jobs. So we're looking forward to that. We have to get our agreement signed and before the projects can start and the youth can start their first day, but hopefully we can get that done before our intended May 2nd start date. Otherwise, it's been... 17,
we usually have, what is the norm here that we get?
Well, it's hard because last year I think we only had... We had 1 admin and a few others. Like, this is the first year we've gotten anything for the Visitor Information Center. This year we have 4 for them. So I would say we probably have 4 additional ones this year.
Oh.
17 out of 19, right?
Yeah, we got 17 out of the 19 that we applied for.
Oh my goodness, you guys are not gonna like me. I'm gonna start talking about the event center here pretty soon.
Now they got the people.
You guys are gonna not like what I got going. Okay. Director Rowe, what do you got going on over there?
You're not gonna like it. Look, you made him nervous.
Thank you, Worship. I've been quite busy too. Just a few things. We're working with the Parks Department and the Lions Club on some drainage concerns at the Spray Park and the Pirate Playground. The Parks Department is on schedule for base replacement at the Kinsman Playground, and they will also be doing the Lions Playground, so we're working on those drainage concerns. I'm also working with Director Saskew on a business continuity plan that was budgeted through emergency management. The town currently doesn't have a formalized business continuity plan, so her and I are working on getting that developed. And something that was brought up by the economic development manager, it was an article that I think he had sent to myself and our marketing and communications manager on youth leaving communities. So we're working with the local schools and looking at developing a survey on why youth leave our community and what would make them want to return to our community. So before that goes out, I will certainly discuss that with council, but just to let you know that we're working with the schools on a survey to maybe look at some previous graduated students and the students that are going to graduate this year to with a series of questions as to, what made you leave Vegreville and what would make you want to return back, so that we have some of our own. The article was very good. It was more of a national survey based out of the. It was based out of the rural, but we don't really know what specific, community was out. So the three of us got into a discussion and thought it would be a grand idea to poll our own students locally and find out, what is it that makes them want to leave and what would make them want to return back, whether it's to raise a family, what is it that they need to come back. So that's what I've been working on.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is another way for Jameson to keep his daughter in town. He's got to put a plan together. Right on. Okay, well, we've gone through everything here that was on the agenda, I do believe. Is there any other business of council that needs to be discussed or somebody wants to bring up at this time? Well, seeing no hands in the air, I'd like to take a motion to go into closed session. We have two, both are harmful to the economic interest of others. So, Councillor Bullock makes the motion. All those in favor? Carried.